First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody to the first chapter meeting of 2020. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope we all had a great Christmas holiday. I know I did. Not a lot happened since the last chapter meeting, but one thing I'd like to point out, we did have our annual ASHRAE bowling event. And just so you know, this event is pretty well attended. And I'm not sure if people just show up just to enjoy playing bowling, or they just want to show up and watch the two teams just compete year over year for the last 10 years. Essentially, that's what the bowling tournament is. It's two companies fighting for first place. And unfortunately for them, this year, somebody else won. And I just want to point out that this year, for the first time ever in the last 10 years, it was the ASHRAE executive that actually won the bowling tournament. So that was myself, Adam Moons, Adrian Matani, and Ryan. Well, I don't think Ryan was there, but he was there in spirit. So congratulations to everyone. Since 2010, two same teams, except for this year, we have the OVC executive, so congratulations again.
Now we're the two teams present.
Yes, yes, we're there. As you know, tonight, this is a Thursday meeting. For the last year, we did the exact same thing. We kind of deviated from the third Tuesday of the month. It's been a great turnout. I think we actually compete against a curling bonspiel or some kind of curling event during the early months of the year. So it's nice to see this type of turnout for a Thursday meeting, especially in January. I just want to thank Joel Primo for the tech session. Joel's been putting on this tech session for the last few months now, and he's going to continue to do so for the next for the remainder of the chapter year. Also, welcome to Society President Daryl Boyce who could be here this evening to present his presidential theme. We really appreciate you taking the time to be here, and look forward for your presentation. We're very fortunate as a chapter to have a lot of our members represent regional and society positions. We are a small chapter. We do stand out for various things, such as research promotion. For the last 2 years, we've been recognized by society as being the top research promotion donors. We have various members that reside on regional positions. For example, Dan Redmond, he's the current RVC for CTTC. We've had other members on various regional positions. We have members that are part of technical committees. Again, Dan's on technical committees. Lanchi, other people here, Gemma, she's on technical committees. And obviously Joel Primo, who's been doing the HVAC courses for ASHRAE. He's part of our membership. So we're very proud of a lot of these members that have made it through society and through the region. And also for other members, like Nick Lee, he's going to be our presenter in our March meeting, and he's actually on a committee. He's actually the committee chair for TC 511 for humidifying equipment, and he's going to be presenting for us this March meeting on humidity control done right. So we're very proud to have our members represent our chapter across the society and region. And also, for the April meeting, we're actually going to have another society president here as well, Thomas Phoenix. He's going to be talking to us about the Advanced Energy Design Guide for K-12 school buildings. So it's pretty fortunate to have these presidents here speaking on behalf of our chapter. For the last 2 years, we've had society presidents. We've had Sheila Hayter and also Bjorni Olesen here presenting for our chapter. So we are very fortunate to have society presidents speak at our chapter meetings. This year has gone by pretty fast so far. We're at the kind of halfway point for our chapter meeting, and I think we have a very good chapter planned for the remaining of the year. A lot of good chapter meetings, a lot of good topics. We will have a seminar we'll be talking about. Adrian's going to be hosting another Women in ASHRAE event this year. There's going to be more YAY events for the young engineers at ASHRAE. And also we have our annual curling event that's going to happen in March on Friday the 13th. So a lot of great things happening. And yeah, we're looking forward to everybody to attend the meetings. Just one thing to mention, we have one meeting in March just to kind of get outside that March break. It's going to be the 4th Tuesday of March, but everything else is going to be the 3rd Tuesday of the month for the chapter meetings. With that said, I'd like to introduce our BOG and our executive. For our BOG members, we have Jacob Huff, Mike Swain, Celine Baraboo, Peter Shawwood, Joe Delavelle. For secretary, we have Ryan Dickinson, treasurer, Adrian Matani, president-elect, Adam Moons, and Dan Redmond's past president in CTTC RPC, and myself, Aaron Dobson, your president. Thank you. It's time I'd like to introduce Ryan Dickinson to introduce the guest for this evening.
Hi. So tonight we have 24 guests in attendance and 16 of which are students. So I'd just like to welcome you on behalf of the chapter. The guests of the evening are Elham Akavan, Hanji Anderson, Ben Beauchamp, Connor Brackley, Chris Campbell, Michael Cation, Caleb Cox, Barak Gunai, Sung Young Hong, Larissa Ide, Weihao Liu, Dan Loke, Kelly Hajesh, Dylan Menez, Guy Mojan, Aditya Patel, Connor Patterson, Maria Pinamonti, Alexandra Pose, Jeff Previtt, Joshua Reinhardt, Ashutosh Upadhyaya, Zijan Zhang, and Ipek Yilmaz. Thank you.
We do have a lot of students here tonight, so thank you for being here. The chapter does sponsor student meals, so if any members do want to contribute to that fund for paying for student meals, go see Sandy and she'll be able to help you out. I'd like to ask Andrew Brown to welcome the new members.
Hello everybody. We have a good list here, biggest one this year, so 9 new members. Please help me welcome them. We have Glenn Clark, Nicholas Seal, Kevin LaMarche, Dan Bradley, Yuski Irokawa, David Oberholzer, Jonathan Stacy, Boris Bobrick, and Heather Newton. Thank you.
To welcome Liz Primo to the podium to talk about student activities and some of the initiatives that she's working on right now.
Thank you, Aaron. Like you said, my name is Liz Primo and I'm the Student Activities Chair. I have a few things to talk about. First, thank you, Daryl, for going to Carleton today. He spoke with about 15 students, and from what I heard, it was a great talk and lots of questions, and this is exactly what we want when we get speakers, get them involved with the students, get them to meet someone and ask their questions. We also, in December, had a group of students from Earl of March High School that got to go to Modern Niagara. This is always a great event. It's the second year we've had it, and both years the students show up and they kind of don't know why they're there, and by the end they're asking if they can give their resume. So it's a great time, and getting them young, it's always what we're trying to do. Speaking of hiring students, we have the career fair coming up on March 10th at Carleton University. We still have some booths that are available for employers, and if you're a student, make sure to attend and bring your CV. There's going to be 14 to 15 employers ready to talk to. And like Aaron said, we have almost 20 students here tonight. And we did not have 20 sponsorships for these students, so we're looking for members to sponsor a student meal. If you have any questions about that, see me or Sandy. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is the OCA Youth Education Trade Show. It's at the same time as the OCA Trade Show. ASHRAE is helping with the HVAC, sheet metal, and plumbing booth. We're looking currently for some equipment that you might want to show the students, or any volunteer time. This is really to show grade 9s to 12s the trades. So it's not to sell them like our equipment, but just to show them what the industry is about and what kind of career they could have in the trades. If you have any questions about that, come and see me. Thank you.
Tonight's theme is YAY, Young Engineers at ASHRAE, and our YAY chair could not be here this evening, so Joe Delabelle will talk on his behalf.
Hi everyone. So as you mentioned, my name's Joe, and I used to be the YEA chair. Jordan Hansen, who just recently had a child, he's taken maternity leave, so he's kind of in and out of work. So he couldn't make it tonight, but he asked me to pass along kind of the message that he wanted to convey. Basically, for people who don't know what YEA is, it's the Young Engineers of ASHRAE, and every chapter has a sub of this. So whether you're from Toronto, Ottawa, Quebec City, Montreal, every chapter in our region has one. So it's a great way if you're part of your region to potentially, if you're at a networking event, you might run into someone else that shares that same bond. For me, I've been a YA member since I started. I'm 30 now, and I was 20 when I started, and I've taken on that kind of the chair role, but I've gotten so much out of being part of YA, and I've met a lot of good people through that, and it's helped me with my career and personally to build relationships and that sort of thing. So basically, if anyone hasn't gone to an event, I think it's a great idea. And if you're a student, talk to Liz and we can forward you that information so you can kind of network with people that are more your age. When you're trying to get into this industry, it can be a little daunting to come to a meeting like this. So with that being said, Jordan's basically going to plan to have a Learn to Curl event. So 2 weeks before the Curling Bonspiel, which is in March, we're going to do on a Saturday or Friday. We haven't really sorted out the date yet. One of Jordan's colleagues actually works at a local curling rink, if that's what you call it. And he's going to set it up where his colleague is actually kind of good at teaching people to curl. So he's going to set up a little training session. So if you're scared to sign up for curling, and even if you're not within the YA bracket, feel free to sign up, and I'll be there because I'm terrible. So if anyone's interested to come, I think we're going to keep the fees really, really low because Jordan's buddy will get us a good deal on it. So we'll send out an email very shortly with the date and the cost, and hopefully we'll have a decent turnout, and maybe afterwards we'll go to a local bar or something to catch up and have a laugh about how good and bad we are. So yeah, with that being said, thanks everyone who has participated in YA, and if you have any questions about YA or the leadership weekends, I've done both 1.0 and 2.0, so has Adrian, and a few people have done, I believe, just the 1.0, so we can give you some feedback. One other thing to mention is in our BOD meetings, we're talking about setting up a, what's it called there? Endowment. So in future years, we'll never have the discussion of do we have the money to send someone to YA for the leadership weekend. It will just be, well, at the beginning of the year, we'll send out a application so that by the time spring rolls around, we'll know who it's going to be and have it set up every year to year that we get someone out to leadership. So if you have any questions, come see me, but thanks again for everyone who participates in YA.
What Joe was mentioning about the YAY Leadership Endowment. Money we do raise from golf tournaments, from curling, from bowling, that's the money that we use to fund these type of endowments, similar to our scholarship. So the YAY Endowment, we started the process. In the next 2-3 years, it'll be fully funded. So the proceeds of the YAY Endowment will fund leadership weekends for our younger members to go away. Everybody sees Adam walking around looking for money. He's going to come up here and talk about the RP campaign and what he's raffling off for this evening.
Thanks, Aaron. So to date, we are just about halfway on our research promotions goal. $36,000 is ballpark the number that we're supposed to be hitting, and we're at 16. tonight's proceeds will be past that point, assuming that everybody who hasn't contributed yet will, because why wouldn't they? 2 tickets, 100 level seats, sends, habs, valet parking. To not buy tickets is really shameful, Alex. And
You only take cash?
sorry?
You only take cash?
Oh, no, actually, you know what? I'm able to swipe your credit card. Thank you for asking, Vic. Absolutely. We're happy to take any and all forms of your currency. And I really do want to say thank you very much for all of our membership, for the incredible support that you've shown over the years, over the course of this year to start. We're going to be reaching out a fair bit to you and your respective companies to hopefully continue what we've been able to show as a chapter, as being the spearheads for research promotions and for what it can actually do. So if you have any questions at all, by all means, reach out to me. Thank you to Engineered Air for their contribution of those tickets for tonight. I'm going to be sticking around, just sort of lurking in and around the shadows, over your shoulders, tapping you, as you said about trying to have a relaxing dinner. It might not work out so well for you if you haven't donated already, but yeah, over the course of the night, hopefully, if you have a chance, it's only $20 and it really goes a long way to providing all of us careers. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, and back to you, Aaron.
No excuses, we have the technology now. Like I mentioned, our curling is March 13th, so Colleen Fox is our curling Bonspiel chair. She'll be sending out an email for registration. So if you do want to participate, the earlier you register, you can guarantee your spot. Next week, we have the ASHRAE winter meeting, so I know there's a lot of people going to this event. Show of hands, like who's going to the winter meeting next week? There we go. We got a party already. All right. We got a couple of tabletop displays for this evening, so I can ask Tim Sutton to come up and speak about his display.
Thank you so much. And my name is Tim Sutton. I'm the sales manager for S&P Canada Ventilation Products. We're out of Mississauga, and I live here in Barhaven. But I'm here tonight just showing our jet fan for parking garages. It's sort of a new concept in ventilation for North America, and we're just going to be introducing it formally at AHR Expo next week, booth 5761, if anybody's wandering around the hall, and that. But if you have any questions about it, please feel free to stop in and see me either here or down there. We manufacture a full line of commercial ventilation equipment. Thanks.
Another display we have is from Engineered Air, so if there's somebody, a Heinji or a Mike or Glenn, there we go.
I'm Glenn McLean from Engineered Air. I've been around this crowd formerly. I was past president in 2007, I think. I can't remember. But we're introducing our new acquisition. It's called BKM. It's been around for over 20 years. It is the original reverse flow energy recovery technology. It's a leader in that industry for energy recovery, and it kind of completes our energy recovery line of products. We've had wheels, we've had plate heat exchangers, we've always had glycol run around. Now we not only have reverse flow, we have the best reverse flow. It's been sold in this area for over 20 years. University of Ottawa was one of the first installations here in town, and they actually did a third-party review of the system and proved our 90% efficiency. It was an independent review. Pierre de Gagne and his crew at the University of Ottawa, another past president, did the study, and it's been published and accepted as a valid review of the system. So come over and see us. One of the big things you'll notice about this product is how heavy it is. And why is heavy important? Because we're doing thermal storage, thermal energy storage. And you need mass to store energy and to maintain stable temperatures. That core is a sample of a 500 CFM core. So if you have 10,000 CFM, you have 20 of those cores to make up one heat recovery device, or one side of a heat recovery device. That core weighs 105 pounds. So more mass, more thermal storage, more stable temperatures. Come over and see us and have a look. Thank you.
That concludes our business session for this evening. Sandy's going to go around table by table. It is a buffet style this evening for our meal. So Sandy, take it away.
Get the whole front row going.
Technical presentation. Before that, we're going to have our research promotion draw. Adam's ready to do the draw. If anybody hasn't purchased tickets, here's your last chance to do so.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks again to Engineered Air for these fantastic seats. Last chance. Anybody going once, twice, 3 times? Daryl, you want to buy another set? You're good? Okay. Really, we couldn't be who we are as a chapter, as a society, if we didn't have such gracious donors of tickets and also such tremendous support from our membership. So thank you for all of that. And Daryl, if you would be so kind as to come up and select tonight's winning ticket. Give it a good mix, sir. Blue ticket. Blue ticket. Blue ticket, everyone. 388. It's a blue ticket. 38893. Blue ticket, everyone. 388930. Blue ticket, everyone. 3889306. Is that a blue ticket? Yes, we have a winner.
We need to make an adjustment here. My husband would not be seen dead at a hockey game. So I need to give away these tickets, and I'm suggesting that if there are students at the table at which I've been sitting who would be interested in the pair of Sens tickets, that I would like to donate them to somebody at my table.
Yes. Thanks so much. Tonight's raffle raised $760. So really happy for everybody's contributions, and again for Engineered Air for the generous donation.
All right, thanks, Adam. I'd like to welcome Daryl Boyce. He's a man that needs no introduction. Everybody here knows who Daryl is. You see him on magazine covers, you see him on websites, promotional material for ASHRAE. You'll see him next week at the Orlando meeting. But Daryl Boyce, he's a fellow life member of ASHRAE. He's the ASHRAE president for this chapter year. He served on the board of directors as treasurer, vice president, and director at large. He is a recipient of ASHRAE's Distinguished Service Award, Exceptional Service Award, and Regional Award of Merit. In addition to his time served as the board of directors, Daryl has served as chair and coordinating officer for the Finance Committee and chair of the Members' Council, Appointments Roadmap Committee, and President-elect Advisory Committee. He has held ASHRAE society-level leadership roles as on many standing committees, technical committees, and presidential ad hoc committees. Daryl is special advisor to Vice President, Finance Administration, and was previously an assistant vice president in facilities management and planning at Carleton University. With his experience, he has made contributions to creating a built environment since 1974. Throughout his time spent with ASHRAE in the HVAC industry, Daryl has worked on various projects to increase energy efficiency. His most recent project included the Snow Lab project in Sudbury, Ontario, where he is responsible for the design and construction of a world-class research facility for underground science. Daryl has also worked on management of facility expansions for various universities. Daryl is a 1982 graduate of the University of Alberta with a Bachelor of Science in Engineering and earned his engineering diploma from the British Columbia Institute of Technology in 1973. His theme for the Society Year is Building for People and Performance, Achieving Operational Excellence. Operational performance is an important process in the management of a building. Buildings often fall short on operating to the expectations of the building designers and operators. This is because designers are not always focused on operability during the design process, and operators frequently do not possess the proper skills to adequately operate the technology incorporated in today's buildings. ASHRAE and its members must take an active role in the ongoing training, engagement, and action towards reducing the gap between design, construction, and operations. This presentation will explore what ASHRAE is doing to achieve effective operational performance and operator experience that is good for buildings, good for those who live and work within these buildings, and good for the planet. Daryl, I'd like to welcome you.
Well, thank you. It is a great pleasure to be back in my home chapter. If you know anything about my history, you know that this is my third home chapter and my final home chapter, so it's great to be here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give my presidential presentation, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about our new headquarters building in Atlanta, and so hopefully that will be of interest to you. So, growing up, my father owned a logging company, and to keep the company in business, we moved around a lot, even to remote islands off the west coast of British Columbia. And so my early childhood experiences were of the large equipment and the rugged men that operated and maintained that equipment. When the business shut down, we continued to move around while my father found various ways to make a living. But at the age of 14, my father left our family, left my mother, my younger sister, and myself on welfare. And at that moment, I was thrust into the role as man of the house and chief operating officer of our substandard housing. There really was not enough money around to hire plumbers or electricians, so I began to understand those systems in the built environment. And it was at that time I really began to appreciate the importance of safe, healthy, effective building operations. So move forward another year, and I'm in junior high school in British Columbia. And the junior high school arranged a tour of the university for us to think about our future careers and educational opportunities. On that tour, we were toured around and went through the heating plant of the university. And so I looked around at the equipment and said to the tour guide, I said, who's responsible for all this? And they said, mechanical engineers. And so as part of this tour, we had to go back to school and write up a brief story on what we thought would be a good career for each one of us in the future, and I wrote on mechanical engineering. And so I was on my journey. I was caught the bug at that time. But as so happens, my first post-high school education was not as an engineer. It was an engineering technologist, production orientation. So I learned all it takes to go into a factory and design the equipment that makes widgets, that makes things. But then I went out into the work world and I got my first job as an HVAC system designer. So I had learned nothing about HVAC systems. But I got this job because I was a mechanical technologist. When I got my first assignment, I went to the senior people in this at the university and said, can you help me with this? And they just pointed to the bookcase. They pointed to the bookcase that was on the wall and said, everything you need to know is in those 4 volumes of the ASHRAE handbooks. I was on my ASHRAE journey. Now, so I worked for a while in that area, and then at the age of 27, Francine and I got married, and I immediately quit my job, full-time job, and enrolled in the engineering program, mechanical engineering at the University of Alberta. During the 4 years, I continued to work part-time in HVAC design while I went to school. But looking back, I can see the thread, my thread. 14-year-old learning about maintaining substandard buildings, a junior high schooler learning about mechanical engineering, and finally a young technologist discovering the value of this society, ASHRAE. In addition, I was learning and becoming passionate about the idea that making or building things was just not enough. We must ensure operational performance for the people that live, work, and interact in them. People must succeed within the buildings that we create. Now, it does make sense to pause at this moment and ask why. Why should we care, ASHRAE members care about operational performance? Well, there are 4 reasons. First, we own the buildings that we design, build, commission, or operate. It's my building. And so when I was working at the University of Alberta, this was my building. And the people that designed and commissioned it, and the people that operate it, consider it to be their building. That's important. It aligns with our mission of advancing human well-being. And I bet most of you think that the HR in ASHRAE stands for heating and refrigerating. It really stands for people, the human resource, the HR that's been at the center of ASHRAE from day one. As a building owner and operator, I can assure you that the building operators need your help. And finally, it's good for the planet by reducing the environmental impact of building operations. And these are not models, they actually are my grandchildren. And I got most of them to do this, and my granddaughters, and now I'm only doing one thing. So, now we know why it's important, but let's have a little look at some data that we found on some existing buildings. And we had great access to Canadian data, so this is what we're going to talk about. First, the Alice Turner Branch Library is using 58% more energy than the design intent. And then you move on to the Roblin Center, which is using 69% more energy. And finally, the Surrey District Education Center is using 203% more energy than the designers intended or the owners expected. Well, there's some reasons why. First, our great designs are not always delivering great operations. That's partly because designers are not always focused on operability during the design process. Designers need to transfer their great designs into effective operations. I think the people that were here for the technical session or a little earlier with Joel heard a little bit about us working, understanding what the owners want at the end, and that's what's important. And really, these great designs, and you know, I'm sure everybody's very proud of their designs, they warrant great operability. Second, buildings are just more complex. Technology, we design technology to help improve operations, but it doesn't always end up that way. Technology is not evil. We can just have unrealistic expectations, and it can be misused. In 2010, at Carleton University, we opened a state-of-the-art engineering building. Power over Ethernet, the very first in the world, we understand. Controls as well as enhanced submarine of equipment, lighting and plug loads at each floor level. And we found the additional data and information just was overwhelming to our operational staff. And third, operators are lagging behind. Operators are being overwhelmed, as our operators were at this engineering building. Generally do not have the skills to operate today's buildings or are not properly trained. At building turnover, operators are rarely properly oriented. So we did a little research and we found that several post-occupancy studies, there's 3 of them that we found, do our green buildings perform as intended is one. United Kingdom-based 1996-2001 PRO project looking into building performance, and the 2006-2010 low carbon buildings performance. All these studies identified a number of key issues for performance slippage. First, buildings were designed with systems that exceeded the capacity of the building management to operate them. The study found a correlation between building performance and the quality of the management. And also systems were complex or innovative. Innovation is a good thing, but in many cases, innovation requires several years to refine and understand. And insufficient commissioning. Study found a correlation between performance and the level of commissioning. Now, we are not the only organization that is concerned about the state of building operations. A 2017 International Facilities Management Association research study titled Raising the Bar from Operational Excellence to Strategic Impact in FM concluded that FM must adopt technology more quickly and far more deeply. It must move beyond technology to monitor space utilization and energy utilization, to focus on using technology, data, and analytics to underpin and enhance the workplace experience. They also went on to say that they believe that mastering the digital age means applying new forms of technology both to enhance the management of facilities and to create new kinds of work experiences. So let's talk about what we can do to ensure that people succeed in the buildings that we create. First, we need to find ways to include building operations team representatives all the way through design, not solely at the end of design. At Carleton, we learned our lesson and established building controls review by operating staff all the way through controls design and installation all through turnover. And the design should reflect the capabilities of people who will be operating the building. As a result, we will not be leaving the operators with, how do I make this work? We need to establish effective turnover and orientation training process. We need to stop and understand what life is like after the building is handed over. And we need to think about designing buildings for the occupant operators that will occupy each of the spaces. We must remember that all design decisions should be evaluated for their impact on the indoor environmental quality. And remember, humans, the occupants, are the best sensors for comfort. In addition, we must learn about the use of analytical and fault detection software to enhance the operation of building systems. A comprehensive study by the National Research Council in Canada determined that with today's building automation systems, we have lots of data. We just need to figure out how to use it effectively. Then we have to work with building owner-operator organizations to develop strategies to prepare the operators effectively to operate the buildings. Through training, effective use of building automation systems, and analytical and other operational tools. And finally, with today's technology, we need to consider adding the concept of a digital twin to improve the understanding of building operations as a base model. And as we looked around, we found that in the United Kingdom, the Building Services Research and Information Association operates a program called Soft Landings. And this program was developed to improve the operational performance of buildings to meet the client's expectations. We need to consider these types of programs in North America. So let's discuss what actions we can take to ensure people succeed in the buildings that we create. In the past year, we formed a multidisciplinary task group on effective building operations. This task group will coordinate the activities of multiple groups within ASHRAE and other stakeholders in the area of training and tools to support the operation of buildings, to enhance the indoor environment while not wasting energy. Responsibility will include suggestions for research as well as development of technical programs and special publications on effective building operation. And it has been my pleasure to be able to serve on the Building Ad Hoc Committee for the past couple of years. And we plan to learn from the renovation and upgrades of a real-world building owner dealing with the balance between indoor environmental quality and energy utilization. That's our building, that's your building. And we want to understand what the building operator brings to the table during design. So going forward, the design, construction, transition and ongoing operations of this building will be fully documented and serve as a learning process for our members. All this will be online and easily accessible. In addition, the project is also being documented by the Building Owners and Managers Research Committee as a case study in repositioning of an existing building. So the building owners and managers want to start thinking about what do they do with their existing buildings to make them great. So what can ASHRAE members do? Well, we can learn, we can get engaged, and we can act differently. One of the things we're doing is we're developing a new guideline titled Designing for Effective Building Operations. This new guideline will be available in June or early July. And so once that comes out, we all need to get a copy. We need to review the Center for the Built Environment to understand what people think about working in buildings. And we need to get engaged. Engage with building operators at the chapter level and the society level to improve our understanding of their problems and develop educational and training tools to reduce the gap between design, construction, and operations. We need to listen to what they are saying. One way is that we have a meeting once a year to talk about operational challenges. One of the concepts is that this could be done 1 or 2 years after a building's been turned over. Bring the operations people in and have them talk to you about the challenges that they have so that we can understand this. And finally, we need to act differently. We need to follow the principles outlined in the new guideline, Designing for Effective Building Operations. We need to add computer-assisted building operations enhancements into the design program. We need to transfer the design operational concepts to the operations team effectively. And finally, we need to learn and apply well-building principles in our design. At 14, I was thrust into the role of operating a substandard building, a position I was not prepared or qualified for. We can do better. We will do better for those who operate our buildings. Remember, people must succeed within the buildings we create. Let's ensure we take steps to achieve effective operational performance and enhance the operator experience. It's good for the building, it's good for the people who live and work within these buildings, and it's good for us. I think I put in the wrong slide here. Well, it's not bad. This is okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are in some things. I think everybody knows we're around 57,000 members worldwide. And I think everybody knows we're celebrating 125 years this year. So this is an important celebration. And for the students here, we have over 7,000 students, members of ASHRAE, with 400 plus student branches. So this is quite a deal. Every 5 years we look at our strategic plan, and this last strategic plan that was worked on in the last year, finalized in the last year, we managed to modify a couple things in the very front end. One is our mission, which is to serve humanity by advancing the arts and sciences of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration, and the allied fields. But most importantly, the vision has been simplified and it's been very blunt. A healthy and sustainable built environment for all. That's the society's vision. Not for some, for all. And so that's our goal in the long run, is to have a healthy, sustainable built environment. So within that, there's like 4 pillars of our strategic plan. And 2 of them are focused on the built environment, and 2 of them are focused on our society. And for our built environment, we're going to focus some attention on resilient buildings and communities and indoor environmental quality. So the indoor environmental quality has become very important to the extent that we partner with some other organizations to create an international organization for indoor environmental quality. On the Future of ASHRAE side, we're looking at organizational streamlining and improving chapter engagement. So if you have ideas about how we can improve chapter engagement, please send them to us. So I think you understand the pipelines that we have. My ASHRAE has been created. How many people use my ASHRAE? Some people? You may want to have a look at that. That's a way of having us able to interact member to member in a Facebook-style methodology. Standards online reviews for changes to our standards. We have well-recognized standards, and a lot of work has gone into refrigeration over the last couple of years because of the low global warming potential refrigerants that are coming along. So those standards are highly rated. We have thermal, ventilation, and energy. Somebody was commenting about the relationship between engineers and architects earlier during the technical session. And an interesting fact is the 2018 International Green Construction Code is, all the technical content in there is our old 189 green buildings standard. And it can only be modified through the ASHRAE process. So when we met with the AIA group, they were a little put off because they felt they had greater impact on the old green construction code. And now they just have one voice at ours. So they woke up one day and said, oh my gosh, ASHRAE is actually going to control this stuff that we thought we had much better control over. So they're now paying more attention to our members and our society. ASHRAE handbook, you can get it to print or online. High performance buildings was really a remarkable addition to talk about these buildings that are award-winning projects. Quarterly publication features case studies with at least 1 year of operation, so you get some sense that they actually operate. Advanced Energy Design Guides, I think you're going to have a presentation in March or April, but it's a big deal. So we moved from like the 30% better to 50 to now we're net zero energy. And so we have one out for K-12. The advanced small to medium office buildings is just out, and we're working on multifamily residential. So we're pushing the envelope. R and ASHRAE, as I said, has been really rejuvenated around the refrigerants. Learning Institute, this is one way that we help train our members, and a wide range of professional development. And Joel is a major player in this because he does a lot of the fundamentals of HVAC. E-learning, we have 90 courses available, and the newer ones are Introduction to Refrigerants, Refrigerant Selection, Management, and Handling. These were developed in concert with the UN Environmental Protection Group, and they're provided free to developing economies to help them reduce their negative impact on the environment through handling of refrigerants. HVAC Certified Designer, that was launched just in last spring, and it's been very popular. And it's one of those ones where the members kept saying we need this, and the employer said we need it, so it's now out there. And members receive a $50 discount, and chapters receive 100 AOE points for every one taken. Building EQ. This was a program that we developed that measures your energy utilization, but includes a level 1 audit, so that you actually have a program of things that you can do with the building that will make it more energy efficient and improve the indoor environment. There's new ways, there's new portals. And it was mentioned as Young Engineers in ASHRAE, and I think it really should have been called Young Members in ASHRAE. But we're really focused on providing services to our members that are 35 years old and younger. Interesting way to say it. We have the YAY Leadership Weekends and opportunity for future leaders to learn more about society, soft skills, and networking. Leadership U, and there's also a YAY Scholarship for HVAC Design Essentials Training. You want to keep in touch with that. Scholarships are available for the chapter to be involved in. I won't go over that. Headquarters building. So first, the new headquarters renovation would be funded solely from the sale of our old building Money is contributed by individuals and equipment and companies. And there is some money in our reserve that was put in there to renovate the old headquarters building that needed renovation. And that's the only money going into it. So we have a building campaign to help fund the building. Building will be net zero ready. We don't have in the budget to buy the photovoltaics and have them installed. But our first goal in the building was to design a building that would have a great indoor environment at very low energy, the lowest energy use that we could possibly achieve in the Atlanta area. That makes it net zero ready. We'll just show a sense of the photovoltaics required. Building will be a showcase for latest HVAC and our equipment and technology, and we're going to move in October of this year. And that's a little bit old. So what, I don't know, you may not know, so we renovated the existing headquarters building about 2006 to 8. And what happened is we said we're going to renovate our headquarters building, and a couple of major manufacturers said we'll give you this equipment, and the other one said we'll give you this equipment, and then we designed around the donated equipment. It was an interesting thing to do where you had ground source heat pumps on one level and you had a variable flow refrigerant system on the second level. But the point is it wasn't really designed to be that net zero ready indoor air quality effective building. So what we asked our design team to do is design the most effective indoor environmental quality at the lowest energy use. And they designed it to be heat pumps, air to water heat pumps, with dedicated outside air and a small air handling unit for the atrium space. And the other thing that we came up with is a radiant panels for primarily cooling, but could also be used for heating. And that was part of the design to increase the comfort levels within the building. So we're going to have a lot of PEX piping running around the building. There'll be some fabric ductwork in there to properly distribute the air in the open spaces. And the radiant panels, which have been donated. So this gives you a sense of what the design is, and be some open windows. But we're going to be running the system, the space temperatures up a little bit higher than our own standard. But we're going to do that with the ability to increase the ventilation rates, the air movement rates, so that the people will still be comfortable. And then so you can see the radiant panels along the edge, the DOAS unit, and the ceiling fans. So this is the layout of the building. So the lowest level is like a walkout basement. It's underground on one side and open sort of at grade level on the other side. At this point, we don't need the space for much other than storage. And then we move up to the next level up. And since our training program at the headquarters building has been pretty effective, we've created a training center on one wing. So we've got lots of training room and meeting rooms to enhance our training capabilities. And it even has a separate entrance that can be served from a lower parking lot. So it's kind of interesting. And on the other side we have office space, and the upper level we have office space as well. So this is what the building looks, I guess it still looks like this today. And also the other thing that Joel mentioned was this ceiling to floor glazing that architects like. Well, they did that, they loved it in 1978, so that's what we bought. We had to remove some materials that were hazardous, so there was a partial demolition done to get rid of all those before our contractor came in. And this is what the building is going to look like, roughly speaking. There's been a couple of minor modifications to it. But the key to this is our building, our glazing has been reduced to 40%, and so that we can have a much more effective envelope. And our envelope effectiveness is much better. And that would be the front entrance to the building as you arrive in the upper parking lot. And so this would be an entry, this is the front entrance, and so there's an atrium, but not a barrel roof anymore. Nice flat roof with some skylights. And then we have at the lower level, we have a stairway and then an area for people to interact. So we did look at photovoltaics, and we found that we could put enough photovoltaics to take us net zero on the roof. But a further analysis of the structural capabilities of the roof said it's not going to go on the roof. It'll have to go on the ground level somewhere. So we're still looking at that. And so we think it's going to cost us somewhere between $300,000 and $400,000 to put in photovoltaics. And so donations, I said we were looking for donations, and we were out doing that. And this is a bit dated, 6.3 million, 6.4 million. We're closer to 6.5 million now. And so we've been very successful. Anybody that wants to be part of this in a way can go on and donate as well as individuals. And there is a method for that that's on the ASHRAE website now, I believe. And just as a reminder, we do have a winter meeting coming up just around the corner. We're going to have over 100 sessions and topics presented by over 300 speakers. The world's largest HVAC and R show. That I don't know whether China's bigger than us or not, but we're right up there. And social events. And one of the things we did this year is we opened registration much earlier, August 1st. So it gave an opportunity for more people to get registered rather than last minute. And the annual meeting will be in Austin, Texas, June 22nd to July 1st. So we get to spend Canada Day in Austin, Texas. There you go. And that's where I give this presidential pin to Chuck Gullidge and fall off the cliff. Anyway, that's the way ASHRAE seems to work. So I think some of you know that you can learn more by going to ashrae.org president. And if you have a mind, you could actually see some of my travels on Facebook under ASHRAE president. So I do have the ability to show you the site for our new building if you're interested. So it's so we have a lake. And we have a new pathway that goes along the lake. So that the town of Peachtree Corners, that's where we moved to this land. It's just outside of Atlanta. So it's its own city, I guess you call it. And we're in the technology park. So we're now in a site that actually represents who we are as a technical society, technology park. We have considerable parking. This is the lower level I talked about going in, and then this whole area up here. But we have this lake effect. We have 11 acres. And what I could describe is if you've ever been at the headquarters building in Atlanta today, what you hear when you step outside the building is all the traffic on the major highway right beside you. Step out of this building, you're going to hear birds chirping, squirrels running up trees, things like that. So it's quite relaxed. But it's a much better site. Gives you a view of the lake. It was a great thing that the city put in this pathway because now our people do a complete loop around the lake, just sort of exercise and get some fresh air. So that's going to be the location of your ASHRAE headquarters. Thank you. questions about anything? Yes.
Joe, what's the budget?
20 million all in, including property purchase and everything. Yeah, if we wanted it all to be covered from the sale of the other building, it would be about another $3 million. I saw another hand somewhere.
Same question. Is there any standards for operating buildings? Any standards for operations?
Not that I'm aware of. There's guidelines, actually CIBSE, which is the British group, Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineers, have some guidelines on maintenance in operation. The problem is that the maintenance is 90% of it, the operations is a little tiny bit. That's why we want to have a guideline that's focused on operations. Like, what do we do to get to great operations? What do we need? So we're working with BOMA, IFNA, and APTA, the Higher Education Facilities Officers. They're all represented on that multidisciplinary ad hoc committee to say, what do we need? How do we together, building owners and operators, ASHRAEs, technology, how do we get there? How do we get these buildings to work? So it's a major initiative, and we've been able to bring everybody in. If you put the clock back about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, I talked to the International Facilities Management guy, and he said, stay out of our business. He got fired. Now there's a new guy that says, we want to work together. So it's interesting. I didn't get him fired, but somebody else working for it.
Hey, Joe, thank you for your presentation. I'm just wondering if there's any plans to bring one of the meetings back to Canada, the ASHRAE meetings.
Toronto, coming up in 3 years.
The winter or summer?
Summer. You want to talk about pictures? So we said the expo is the largest in the world. Well, let's say it's not, but it's here. First of all, there's only 4 cities in North America that can handle the size of this expo, and that's Chicago in the winter. That's Orlando, Atlanta, and Las Vegas. That's it. Unless our show shrinks, which is not a good thing for us because it actually brings a fair chunk of money to the society. Those are the 4 sites, or somebody else adds on space. Toronto would not even come close, unfortunately.
So I imagine once the new headquarters is operational, we'll go through the EQ certification. Are there any other building certifications that the project's planning to go through?
Absolutely, building EQ will be part of it. We're going to do the lead building operations goal.
Operations.
Yeah, the operations one. So we stopped, we looked at doing lead design, and it was going to cost us $150,000 for the design team to put all the documentation together. We said, no, we're going to put the money in the building. And then the other one is that there's there's a pedal system, and we're looking at doing 3 of the pedals for that sort of well building program. And you know, one of the things, this is my personal view, maybe the president will be right now. We're the leaders. We don't need somebody to validate that we're doing something right? We're going to use a demonstration. We're going to show the world what we did. And so, you know, we want to actually pilot a few things that we've never done before. When we did the last headquarters building, we had it LEED certified, we had a Green Globe certified, and that was okay at that time. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
On behalf of the Ottawa chapter, I'd like to thank you for the presentation and show them our appreciation. Thank you.
Yeah, we need a picture one, yeah.
Next month's meeting, next month's meeting is Tuesday, February 18th, and that's with Dennis Fotinos from Toronto, and it's talking about wastewater energy transfer. Dennis, he's the founder and CEO of Noventa Energy Partners, and he's also the former N-Wave Energy Executive Chairman and former Toronto City Councillor. Our March meeting, we have Nick Lee. He's going to talk about community. Nick's here in the room, if you don't know who he is. You want to stand up, Nick? And everybody knows who you are. There we go. So Nick's going to be talking about community done right, and brings us to our April meeting. We have Thomas Phoenix, who's a former society president, talking about K-12 buildings. And our final May meeting of the year, which is going to be here very soon. We're just finalizing the program meeting, but it's either going to be talking about the ESAP program in Ottawa or the new Ottawa Public Library. So once details are formalized for May, you'll see the posting on the website. That concludes our business session and our meeting for this evening. Thank you for attending, and hopefully we'll see you this next meeting in February. Thank you.